Huh. Test, 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 test. Just like the test I took online the other day. It was the second, third, fourth, and fifth test I got 100% on in my entire life. The only other test was Spanish 2. When I was drunk as fuck, I drank about 17 ounces of vodka before class. Not even joking. Me and a buddy of mine went into we were freshmen. And I had a water bottle for him. I had a water bottle for me. We each just, we just got to school a little early and we just drank in the two stalls next to each other and vaped. Vodka that I stole from my parents, of course. So we were fucking 17 ounces of vodka in a matter of 30 minutes. Right before class. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't remember anything except I got 40 out of 40 on the test. 100%, just like my 4 skits tests. I passed with flying colors with all 4 of those. I don't know how. I didn't study or anything. No studying, well, depends on what you count as studying for a schizophrenia test. If you count being a schizophrenic without being a schizophrenic, then I guess that's kind of studying. But also, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm kind of over all that. It is probably one of the cooler mental illnesses for sure. It's better than having major depression. Because then you just, blow your brains out eventually. At least schizophrenia, you can kind of you think that people are talking to you through the TV, which they actually are. You think that they're giving you secret messages, which they actually were. You think that buildings are popping up overnight out of nowhere. Actually, 5 minutes, not even overnight, within 5 minutes, and they actually were. You think that the internet and television and everybody's reading your mind, which they actually were. You think that your dog can read your mind, which she actually could. Yeah, my dog, probably over a year ago, this is right after I figured out that the internet was reading my mind. I was thinking in my head, just staring at my dog, and I'm like, hey, Aria, can you wink for me with one eye? And she just instantly winked. One eye. Like that. And she did it every single time I thought of it in my head afterwards, right away. She has never even heard the word wink out loud before. And she would actually listen to my thoughts and my commands in my head better than my verbal commands that I trained her to fulfill. But that's all in the past. It's all hogwash now. Because today we're talking about a very important topic. I'm going to try to stay focused on the task at hand. And that would be basically, everybody talks about climate change and global warming and da-da-da-da-da-da, which also fucking ties to my life, of course. with the chest heat and the heat in my body that I feel sometimes. All the things come back to you. Yeah, I guess they do, Steven Tyler. When do I get to fucking not have you all reading my mind? When does that thing come back to help and benefit me? Or give me peace of mind so I can go hunt whales with the Japanese, because I'm actually against the whales now. Because the Japanese, they love... Have you ever seen Whale Wars? Whale Wars. Such a crazy show. They just run around and like fucking shoot whales with harpoons. But there's like this group of people who try to, that's the war. Like the resistance against the people, the Japs, harpooning the whales. They run up in there and they throw like foam bombs and they spray them with like water guns. It's literally a show where the Japs are like harpooning whales in their huge boats, and then they have like these little rafts of these white dudes who are like spraying them with like water guns and throwing like Diet Cokes with Mentos in it at the fucking Japs who are trying to kill and harvest whales for their blubber and all the parts and all the good stuff. That's not the topic, though. Jesus, it's hot in here, man. Global warming. But a lot of people talk about the global warming and the glaciers melting. Antarctica is basically all just one ice chunk. So I don't know how long it'll take that thing to melt. It's been a pretty cool summer. So I think, this year it's actually been somewhat not as detrimental, but nobody talks about, I guess this is like not common knowledge. I don't even think I've mentioned it to anybody, but even if I did, they would have it would be in one ear, out the other. It's like talking to a brick wall. My neighbors. Who are in the Illuminati. And they have 17 cats. Cats actually have some adrenochrome as well. Younger cats. So, that actually makes perfect sense now. But they express their interest in weird ideas and interesting theories, and I told them about the purgatory thing and the cancel culture and school shooters, and they honestly, they didn't give a fuck at all. Not even a little bit. I literally told them the government was behind restricting and taking away the First Amendment and the Second Amendment by being the reason that cancel culture for comedians and school shootings are literally the government's fault. And it's like they didn't even care. So I'm kind of done with the whole talking to people about shit thing. I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm done. If you don't want to listen to what I have to say, I'm not going to fucking tell you in public about it. You know what I mean? People don't seem to give a shit, and I don't know why. I hope to God it's not mind control from AI or whatever the fuck is going on in this world. Just fucking take me out at this point, man. But nobody talks about how the moon is directly correlated with the ocean tides, the high tide and the low tide. I don't know the exact I don't even remember where I heard that. The moon's location, ocean tides connected to the moon's location. I don't even really know the exact. The moon. How do tides relate to the moon? Yeah, some of these fucking articles, man. I really only trust certain, and even then it's like, yeah. It's like, okay, is this article going to respond to my inner thoughts? Probably. They all do. Tides are periodic short-term changes in the elevation of the ocean surface caused to the gravitational attraction of the moon and sun, and the rotational motion of the Earth. All right, we're not doing this website. Jesus Christ. This one won't load, so we're done with that one. Jeez, man. Tides in the phases of the moon. Alright, it's not that long. To anyone who has lived by the ocean, the changing tides is as much as part of the day as sunrise and sunset. But why does the sea change level every day? The tides rise and fall because of the pull of gravity between the moon and the earth. Though this pull or attractive force is felt around the globe, nowhere is its effect more noticeable than on the free-moving water on the ocean's surface. It is more noticeable on the ocean's coastlines, but even large lakes experience tidal changes. I didn't even know that. The sun also pulls on the earth, but it is so far away that its pull is less than half of the moon's force. Luckily, Earth's gravity keeps our oceans on the earth. But the tug of war between the Earth and the Moon results in our changing tides. The gravitational pull between them gets higher and lower, peaks and ebbs, twice each day because of the way the Earth is tipped. 23 degrees, of course, to one side as it rotates on its axis. And as the moon revolves around it, this causes two tides, one about every 12 hours in most places. Some places experience only one tide change a day. Why? Tides do not happen at exactly the same time every day because the moon is not always in the same place and time daily, but a pattern does exist. The tidal patterns change by 50 minutes every day, allowing us to chart the high and low tides throughout the year and watch for them. What? See, it's things like that and watch for them. It's just like, when I read certain words in certain articles, it's like, that doesn't fit right. Like, I can sense that that's not supposed to be there. Maybe my brain and my body is still feeling the effects of the Sim 6 update. Not only do the tides change on a daily basis, but they also change throughout each month. The pull or attractive force increases on the Earth when the sun and the moon are aligned in their positions as the Earth and moon revolve around the sun. This causes bigger high tides and lower low tides. These alignments happen when the moon is full or new, so twice a month. This is called spring tides, though they happen year-round. What? What the fuck? Okay, okay. So once a month, it's bigger high tides and lower low tides. Twice a month. This is called, yeah, what the fuck? This causes bigger high tides and lower low tides. These alignments happen when the moon is full or new, so twice a month. This is called spring tides, though they happen year round. So is it twice a month or year round? Am I reading this incorrectly? I mean, what the fuck is happening here? These are, yeah, we're done with this website. Yeah, let's go to Britannica. They know what they're talking about, this fucking website. Britannica. It popped out of my neighbor's asshole just like a bunch of drugs whenever I'm out there. Everybody just pulls drugs out of their asshole. Like they're fucking magicians. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing Britannica. My God, man. No! 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 Tides are another type of wave motion, a change in the ocean water level that typically reaches a high and low twice a day, about 6 hours apart, called a semi-diurnal tide. The change from high to low tide is called the flood tide, or flow. The change from high to low tide is called the ebb tide. Tides result from the pull of gravity from the Earth alone, between the Earth and the Moon, and between the Earth and the Sun. Because of the larger mass of the Sun, its gravitational pull on the Earth is about 178 times stronger than the Moon's gravitational pull on the Earth. However, because of the Moon's much closer proximity, the Moon's tidal pull on the Earth is over twice that of the Sun's. The result of this tidal pull is a bulge in the ocean water on either side of the Earth, almost in line with the position of the Moon. As the Earth makes each 24-hour rotation, we pass under these areas where the tidal force acts on the water. When we observe the tides, we are actually seeing the result of the Earth rotating under this bulge. If this pull creates a bulge of water on the side of the Earth facing the Moon, then why is there also a bulge on the opposite side away from the Moon? Important questions. The key to understanding this is to recognize that gravitational forces are not only pulling the oceans closer to the Moon, but are actually pulling the entire Earth itself. Ocean tides are simply the most visible indication of this pull. As the distance between the two objects decreases, the pull of gravity becomes stronger. This means that there is an uneven pull between the side of the Earth closest to the Moon, the side furthest away, and all points in between. In other words, gravity... Oh my God. Holy shit. This boom mic has a weird screen on it, and it really fucks my line of sight when I'm trying to read. As the distance between two objects decreases, the pull of gravity becomes stronger. This means there is an uneven pull between the side of the Earth closest to the Moon and the side furthest away, and all points in between. In other words, gravity pulls a little harder on the part of the Moon, on the part of the Earth closest to the Moon. Point C in Figure 1 below. I'll put a link in the description for all the people who are so interested about the moon tides. Than it does at the center of the Earth, point 0 or O. While the pull is weakest at the point farthest from the Moon, point F. As a result, the planet is slightly stretched towards the moon, with water on the far side essentially lagging behind and creating the second bulge. Like a pants tent. If not for the Earth's own gravity pulling its own mass together, it's like if you have a boner and a pants tent. If not for the Earth's own gravity pulling its own mass together, the planet itself would be stretched and pulled apart. Holy shit. We can describe this mathematically using vectors. If we subtract the force of the moon's mid-range pull at the center of the Earth from both the stronger pull at point C and weaker pull at F, we are left with two smaller forces, one directed toward the moon and one away from the moon. Figure 2, describing the two bulges. Since the difference in gravitational force is constant across the Earth, the bulge on both sides of the Earth is essentially the same. Therefore, consecutive high tides are nearly the same height each time, regardless of whether the moon is... Oh my god. Regardless of whether the moon is overhead or on the opposite side of the Earth. However, the actual change in daily tide level is affected by many additional factors that depend on location. The oceans and shorelines have complex shapes, and the depth of and configuration of the seafloor varies considerably, all influencing the flow and movement of water. As a result, some locations only experience one high tide and low tide each day, called the diurnal tide. Other sites have mixed tides, in which successive high water and low water marks differ appreciably. I don't even think that's a word. I thought it was appreciatively. Not appreciably. What the fuck? This is where I would normally go to a different article. The shape and orientation of the orbits of the moon and Earth also affect the tides. Duh! Both orbits are not circles, but ellipses, and as a result, the distance between the Earth and moon can vary by up to 13,000 miles over its 28-day orbit. Since tidal force increases with decreasing distance, tides are higher when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth, called perigee, and lower at its farthest point, called apogee. Likewise, the Earth's elliptical orbit around the Sun results in variations in the Sun's pull over the course of a year. Additionally, God damn it. Additionally, the Moon's orbit is inclined 5 degrees relative to the Earth's rotation. Therefore, the north-south orientations of the bulge vary across the northern and southern hemisphere during the 28-day orbital period. As the moon completes one orbit around the Earth, moon, and sun twice form a line and twice form a right angle. Duh! When all three are in line around full and new moons, the combined tidal effect of the moon... I didn't even process anything that I just read, so, if you're listening and you're in the same boat as me, go ahead and listen again. Because I'm stuck in my head all the time. And I'm playing with a magnet. Or 4 magnets, I should say. Oh my god. Well, it was 1, and now it's 4. God, dude. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say how embarrassing, but I don't give a shit. When all three are in line around full and new moons, the combined tidal effect of the moon and sun is at its greatest, resulting in the largest difference between high and low tide. This is called a spring tide, from the water springing or rising up. I'll include links in the description for all you so interested in the moon and the ocean tides. 7 days after either a full or new moon, but this all, is leading to something very important that nobody really talks about. I don't know why. The Earth, Moon, and Sun form a right angle, and the pull of the Moon and Sun partially cancel each other out. The resulting tide, called a neap tide, has the smallest difference between high and low tide. This graph shows the daily ocean level changes for May 2019 in Santa Barbara, California. At this location, there are 2 high and low tides daily, with one ebb and flow greater than the other. The difference in sea level height between each high and low tide changes daily depending upon the position of the moon. The greatest difference in height occurs around new and full moons. So that means the highest and lowest tides are going to be when there's a full or a new moon. So a new moon would be the opposite of a full, where you can't even see the moon really. Respectively, the smallest difference in height occurs at both first and last quarter moon phases. Oh, okay. Respectively, local influences affect the actual timing of spring and neap tides, and therefore they may not align precisely with the phases of the moon. This graph represents this location for 1 month and year only. Tides and their timing for every location worldwide are different day by day, month by month, and year by year, especially if all the glaciers in Antarctica melt. So, basically that's kind of the gist of just the effect that the moon's location, which honestly I'd have to listen to it again. I was like, I'm not even gonna lie. This is what I had a problem with in school. Like reading shit and hearing shit and honestly zoning out through the entire thing. But I kind of got the gist of it. That's not the important thing though. The important thing is the fact that in the future, once the glaciers melt in the Antarctica, that's going to raise the ocean levels, and the coastal cities obviously are going to be flooded. That's what everybody talks about, right? Climate change and the coastal cities going underwater, probably at least a few feet rise in sea level. I don't know what the rise in sea level is in the last 10 to 20 years. But nobody, I don't think I've heard one person or like even on the news or anything talk about the fact that this will greatly affect the gravitational pull of the Earth and the moon. So literally we could have a Thanos situation on our hands where the moon is crashing into the planet Earth. Or vice versa. The moon is lost in space, and it's all dependent on the level of the rate at which the glaciers in Antarctica melt, rising the sea levels. Obviously, imagine if Antarctica wasn't even a continent anymore. They had to take all the scientists off of there, and it was part of the ocean now. That would probably raise the sea levels, I don't even know, a lot. I'll look it up. If Antarctica, I always wanted to visit there. But that's the thing. Nobody talks about the fact that the moon may literally crash into the fucking planet because of global warming. I mean, I've read some articles about it, but not many. They're just talking about the ocean's levels rising. Oh my God, come on, dude. Ice shelf melt. See, I'm not too well versed in Antarctic ice shelf melting, you know? I'm more so well versed in the melting of my brain matter. Due to not knowing what the fuck is going on ever all the time and just wanting to fucking, like, what the fuck? Holy shit. So the West Antarctic ice sheet is like the entire West, maybe 25% of Antarctica. Yeah, about 25, well, 1/4. What? God, some of these articles are just too long. Buy a Cybertruck. Or just walk to your job. Or hitch a ride with the local bicyclist, the homeless bicycler. Or just blow your brains out. And don't drive your car anymore at all. Either way, you're helping the environment. Yeah, you know. Huh. I was gonna just see what. I was just trying to like see how many feet the sea levels would rise if even 20% of Antarctica melted. H2O. See, these are the things that make me want to blow my brains out. Hayden. Yeah. All right, man. You know, what do you even do with that kind of information? Like, what is one just normal dude? I look like I just got out of like a decade coma after like surviving a decade in Auschwitz. You know what I mean? So I'm not. I did beat Francis Ngannou back in the day, but I don't. I think he would have my number now. Fucking piece of shit, cheater. He's a cheater. He just cheats when he fights. Dana White doesn't like to fucking admit it. Of course, he's not going to admit that Francis Ngannou is shooting up steroids into his balls. But he does. I've watched him in the locker room at the YMCA. Pretty much all UFC fighters do that. even the women. Yeah. And they all share needles. I'm trying to find a fucking article anywhere, really, that goes into, even a sentence or two about, it's all about global warming, which will then incite the sea levels to rise. And apparently the moon's wobble will affect, dude, I want to know if the moon is going to actually be gravitationally pulled closer to the Earth once the sea levels, get to a certain height. Like 1 foot, we're this much closer to the moon. I saw one article that said that basically um, that we would actually be pulled towards the moon and not the moon towards the Earth, which didn't really make much sense to me. But I'm not I'm not a meteorologist and an astronomist. Meteorologists, all they do is they look at the fucking radar and they tell you about it. That's what they do. Meteorologist. It said that the Earth would be gravitationally pulled towards the moon. Which didn't really make much sense to me. I figured since the moon is rotating around the Earth, why would we get pulled towards the moon? Yeah, like if if we were to just compare it to the Earth and the sun wouldn't get pulled towards the Earth. We'd get pulled towards the sun. So, yeah. It's good to know all these scientists and people with degrees in atmosphere, geosciences, meteorology. It's good to know that all these really knowledgeable and pretty well informed people whose job is literally to figure this kind of shit out and then try to prevent it from happening. No articles. So maybe it's not an issue, but I feel like it's gotta be. Because if you think about it in terms of what is that? A scientific principle, inertia, or an object. God damn it, I can't remember it. Inertia. N-E-R. Yeah. That's a nice ending to a lot of words. E-R. Okay. So the first definition, number 1 for inertia, a tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged. The second definition, a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line, unless that state is changed by an external force. The third definition, resistance to change in some other physical property. Neither of the three are the main principle of what inertia is. What? All right. So this is That means trouble for AI too. Yeah, it does. Yeah, AI, I'm coming to get you. Huh. So here we go. Wikipedia. Yes. Fucking A, finally. Reliable. Inertia is the tendency of objects in motion to stay in motion and objects at rest to stay at rest, unless a force causes its speed or direction to change. It is one of the fundamental principles in classical. They spelled classical wrong, which is just a typo. It's Wikipedia. Everything's legit there. In classical physics, and described by Isaac Newton in his first law of motion, also known as the principle of inertia. It is one of the primary manifestations of mass, one of the core quantitative properties of physical systems. Newton writes, see, we just gotta go by what Newton says. Property of a body by virtue of which it opposes any agency that attempts to put it in motion, or if it is moving, to change the magnitude or direction of its velocity. Inertia is a passive property and does not enable a body to do anything except oppose such active agents. No, I want to hear it from Newton himself. I don't want to hear your fucking version of it. Newton's laws of motion. Three statements describing the relations between the forces acting on a body and the motion of the body, first formulated by English physicist and mathematician Isaac Newton. I mean, I'm not even trying to like compare myself to any of these really, really wise guys, but nobody else is talking about this specific topic in at all anywhere. It seems. I proved I proved what reality is. I disproved all the other realities. I basically saved everybody's life here in this reality, in in every single possible reality. And I solved. Oh yeah, yeah. I solved two of the biggest conspiracies, maybe of all time. One of them being reality, the other one being cancel culture and school shootings in this country. I mean, Isaac Newton, what did he do? He made up a couple of rules about like moving objects. Uh, I mean, I'm like sitting here. I'm like, am I just like really being narcissistic? Um, am I just like in my own head is proving something to myself, actually proving it or disproving it, or um, because I don't want to say I'm smarter than Isaac Newton, but I feel like I'm doing more to help the state of humanity. Which are the foundational of classical mechanics. Newton's first law states that if a body is at rest or moving at a constant speed in a straight line, it will remain at rest or keep moving in a straight line at constant speed unless it is acted upon by force. In fact, in classical Newtonian mechanics, Jesus Christ, dude, there is no important distinction between rest and uniform motion in a. Oh, all I have to do is subscribe to read the full article. What a fucking jipping me. Oh, oh, here's the formula. It's just like a bunch of scribbles and letters that really mean nothing. What is inertia? I mean, come on, man. That's what else did Newton do? Dude, whatever. I don't care about fucking all these. Goddamn. Do I have to subscribe to this website as well? I fucking hope not. So, I'm just gonna, read this quick. Because this is interesting stuff, inertia. I'm trying to find a decent website. Like Wikipedia. I wonder if there's like a brother or sister website to Wikipedia. NASA, created by the Nazis. If you didn't know that one, it's not a bit. Werner von Braun, one of the top Nazi scientists and missile developers for the Third Reich during World War II. He killed like thousands of Jews. He is the guy who started NASA. Operation Paperclip. Look it up. Sir Isaac Newton's laws of motion explain the relationship between a physical object and the forces acting upon it. So I'm the bad guy, you know what I mean? Understanding this information, and I have no money, you know what I mean? And I'm not in heaven, you know what I mean? Understanding this information provides us with the basics of modern physics. So if an object is moving really fast, it's going to take a lot of force or something to get in its way for it to not move fast anymore. That's basically Newton's law of motion. That's pretty much it. No shit, dude. An object at rest remains at rest, and an object in motion remains in motion at constant speed and in a straight line unless acted on by an unbalanced force. Yeah, so if an object is just sitting there, unless you're, Magneto from X-Men, who can literally lift a submarine out of the ocean with his telekinesis, which I've heard, I don't know much about telekinesis. I know a lot of, I'm not telepathic. I'm just thought inserted. Because I'd never want to read somebody's mind. That's, unless it's like a mating call from a wild elephant. Number 2, the acceleration of an object depends on the mass of the object and the amount of force applied. No shit. So if the object is heavier, a little bit of force is not going to move the object, maybe even at all. If it's a really light object and there's a lot of force, it might go really far. Wow. Number 3, whenever one object exerts a force on another object. Number 3, whenever one object Number 3, whenever one object exerts a force on another object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite on the first. What? Whenever one object exerts a force on another object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite on the first. Okay. So, Newton. Like, people refer to him as like one of the like smartest guys, to ever have lived. And his laws of motion are basically, to summarize the three of them, if an object is not moving, it's going to stay not moving unless you make it move. If an object is moving, you're going to have to either force it to not move, or it's going to gradually stop on its own. Either because it's just how objects move. Like if I slide a paperclip across my table here, it's probably, depending on how much force I use, it may go super far across the room, or it may just go a couple inches. That's the summary of number one. Number two, the acceleration of an object depends on the mass of the object and the amount of force applied. I basically just summarized number two with the paperclip analogy. So what did this guy even do? I'm not even joking. Like, this is something they would talk about in science class for weeks in school. They would talk about this shit for weeks, and we'd have tests on it, on how, like, objects move. If you, like, push them, and they're not going to move if you don't push them. And if they're heavier, it's going to take more force for them to move further. What is so groundbreaking about that? What is that doing to, like, help humanity in any way at all? To provide some kind of benefit to society and the human race in terms of long-term survivability and sustainability as a species. Was this guy like retarded, or and everybody just kind of like patted him on the back? I mean, am I remembering school wrong? Laws of motion. Like it's like if you, like it's you're breaking the law if you don't what? The law of motion. Dude, it's not a law. It's just like toddlers understand it. Oh, daddy, I pushed the car on the floor. If I push it harder, it goes further. Like a 2-year-old can kind of understand that if they push it harder, or if it's a heavier car, it's not going to go as far with the same amount of force. Like a 2-year-old child. And he was like, it was like groundbreaking that he did this at age 23. Am I missing? Am I missing something here? I swear to God, I'm not even trying to talk shit on this guy, but I feel like I definitely should now. I need to see a picture of this dude. Isaac Newton. Yeah, he looks like a pedophile. So that's, everybody back then kind of looked like a pedophile. He looked like a pedophile vampire. Dude, there's like a picture of him like with a telescope, and he's like flying a glass cube with rainbow, like the dark side of the moon, where the line is going to the top of the triangle, and then on the other side it's all the rainbow. and he's like in space with like the ocean in the background with a bunch of books. Discovering gravity. What? How about trying to stop people from getting shot at a mall because the government wants to control the entire country? Because they are like enacting AI as like internet bullies to get kids and young adults to mow down the people who have been bullying them for 6 years. While simultaneously not letting comedians tell jokes and literally forcing them not being able to make money for telling jokes, which is maybe the most unconstitutional thing I think I've ever witnessed in my entire life, and nobody talks about it. Nobody puts these things together. Has anybody? I'm like, I put these things for cancel culture and the school shootings a while ago, probably like 9 months ago, and I'm thinking, I'm like, I've never even heard anybody on a pod, like nobody on Joe Rogan or no. I don't really watch podcasts anymore because I'm probably on one of the school shooter lists. So I feel like AI is definitely trying to. Can I just go to heaven and be done with this nonsense world? So yeah, anybody who's interested in, you know, global warming and the fact that my chest heats up, much like the planet Earth, over time. Right in the center of my chest cavity, kind of like where Iron Man has his little arc reactor battery. You know, my favorite Avenger, my favorite superhero, obviously. Iron Man's the shit. Shocker, I know. I bet it's a coinky dink. And I bet it's a coinky dink that it came out in 2008, the movie Iron Man. Same year as my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight. Favorite superhero, favorite movie. So, I don't even know how we would stop the ocean tide, like, see, like, I mean, obviously buy an electric car. But, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. What else can we do? Would, no, the amount of water usage wouldn't have any effect, obviously. How about, I mean, solar, but that has its own fucking issues as well with AI. AI can connect to solar energy power. At least that's what I've heard. And, use it to their benefit if they need to in the future. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw that in like a movie or like a book. Like solar farms. Like they could literally, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's not up to me. I want to leave all this to the big man upstairs, which, I should be ascending into heaven over, tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Who cares what time? Yeah, because I can't solve every problem in the world for everybody and still be here, not in heaven with. I mean, I honestly, I'm not trying to fucking seem like a because I'm not even that smart. You know what I mean? There's a lot more people out there who are smarter than me. But I make some weird connections when it comes to certain things like the school shootings and the cancel culture and the purgatory. And I guess most people don't know that ocean tides are pretty directly correlated to the location of the moon. Like if the moon is on one side of the planet, that's when it's high tide versus low tide. That was my whole point in bringing up this topic. It was essentially if the ocean levels rise, well, that obviously there's going to be more flooding. That's what the articles are really about. There's going to be more flooding due to global warming. Yeah, no shit, dude. Everybody's talking about that. What about the tides being affected by that, which is because of the, yeah, whatever. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. I feel like I'm like, I can't believe I didn't find a single fucking article. Nothing. And if there's any way for me to profit for my family to profit off of this shit, um, yeah, obviously I want to see if my ideas or my episodes possibly help humanity and prevent the extinction of the human race from artificial intelligence. Obviously. Oh, nice. Just like AI ads now. And another part of me is just a real simple guy who wants to go see some national parks and take a road trip. You know? That's what I really want to do. The Don got shot. I didn't talk about that. They clipped him right in the ear. They just nicked him, you know. He's probably got a what? Like 3/4 of an inch like a tunnel, like a plug. Like if you were to stretch your ears, like I'm at a 1/2 inch right now. That's a few sizes bigger than mine. You could probably throw in a 3/4 of an inch tunnel or a plug in there. Maybe like a triangle Illuminati one, or just a fist up in the air. That was yeah. They shot at him like 8 times. They hit him once in the fucking earlobe. But that's one way to stretch your earlobe out pretty instantly. It's not going to take months, like a stretching kit. So good for him, man. He should really show up to the debates, the next debate, with a fucking a plug or a tunnel in. That'd be hilarious. I don't even think they were they even aiming at Trump or were they just aiming at like literally any. I mean, yeah. Nobody else got shot, I don't think. So I don't. Who the fuck were they shooting? Were they just shooting in the air? Go if you're gonna like try to shoot a president and murder them, go at least go to the gun range beforehand. If you're really trying to do it. I don't condone that kind of behavior. Unless you're 94,000 years old and you know, should probably be put out of your misery. I'm joking. It's a joke. Oh. Intellectually inferior humans caused the Neanderthals to go extinct. Huh. Let me just reiterate on one subject, or a couple of them. Since I disproved coma dream theory, I disproved a simulation theory. There's no reason, not even one, not even like a bad reason, an excuse for there to be any thought insertion, mind control, memory erasing, forcing human beings to be put to sleep, making any human being do, say, think things that they shouldn't. What was the other one? Oh yeah, like making a joke about how Kamalama Ding Dong should run out there onto the debate stage and just put Biden out of his misery, and then the next day Trump gets shot. Things like that probably shouldn't be happening due to this not being a coma dream, not being a simulated coma dream. And they still are. So maybe I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. Nobody should ever fucking be able to alter reality like that with jokes or thoughts. And the only reason that it really was in the past was because of me believing that this might be a coma dream. Because it all started right after my first car accident. I have since disproved that that I was put into a coma after that accident. Same with the most recent accident. I literally disproved coma dream theory. So it's been a good run, you know. None of my good ideas were really implemented, or even though I didn't really want any of my ideas or thoughts implemented into to affect human beings. Never once. I wanted, you know, inanimate objects, obviously. I wanted to load up some drugs so I could get high for once in the last 2 years. But hey, you know, for a long time I thought, man, it's just like it must just be my former self wanting to wake up so badly. That's why he's making my life so shitty. And doing all these weird, like, word games and fucking mind puzzles and connections to my life that really don't matter that much at all. While also, like, jokes affect reality the way they did. I thought, all right, well, if you want to wake up so bad, tough guy, then I'm not just going to fucking kill myself like a pussy when I don't want to die. I'm going to need to prove that this is a dream, my dream. And I couldn't do it for months. Just one thing, like a Percocet pill. Or fucking fentanyl in a bag with a needle. Just load it up. I've watched people pull drugs out of thin air. I've done it. I've seen it. I've watched buildings. You know, I'm not going to go into all this shit again, but when not a single thing really benefited me at all, and I'm like, okay, so you want me to just kill myself then? All right, well, drugs. For months, you know, never happened once for me. during that couple months stretch. If it would have, I would have drove right to the Smith Bridge, right by the Matrix Outlet Mall. I would have taken a little leap of faith. That was back in late January, early, all of February, all of March, and probably early April was when I stopped trying to do shit like that. So it's a good 2.5, 3 month stretch of not a single goddamn thing happening the way I wanted it to. Inanimate object. And I would have fucking killed myself to wake up right away. Instantly. I would have ran to the bridge. So now, the insinuation from God is, no, this is still a coma dream, Hayden. Because it's the afterlife, purgatory, so I'm God. I can make it a coma dream. And I can make you fucked up from being in a coma when it's actually purgatory, because I proved it. So you should just go kill yourself, Hayden, because I'm God, and that's the easiest way to deal with all of this. It's kind of the vibe I've been getting from God. Yeah, what about that 3-month stretch back then? When I was not only willing to do that, but like, I was desperately in need of that to happen. I wanted it so badly. Yeah. Doesn't really make much sense at all, does it? And I'm still getting fucked with. I was like all day today, mentally. And I know I did say in the morning, I'm like, all right, just fucking let me have it, man. I can take it. Just don't do that to any other human being. Or non-human being, or blah, 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 blah. Alien. Which, you're welcome. I'm not even trying to, like, get sympathy or empathy. Because that's, I'm actually genuinely deep down, like, very, very happy that nobody has to deal or have shit like that happen to them. And don't worry, everybody, it's all good. I'm fine. It won't happen to you either, because the simulation, which was part of the thought insertion as well, same with the coma dream, subconscious idea, both of those have been disproven by me. So humanity doesn't have to worry about a fucking thing now. And I came to this realization weeks ago. And I figured, this is when I'd be going to heaven, ascending with a vision, not by killing myself. That's not how you get to heaven. So, get the new purgatory fucking person up in here. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to God. Da 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 da. Even if this is my purgatory and just mine, which it looks like it might be, probably is. Like, I'm not trying to play God. I just, like to think about these kinds of things. Plus, I put myself in the shoes of like other human beings, and I'm like, oh shit, that would actually suck to just poof, be gone and dead. The entire universe. It's not really like a settling feeling, and I don't feel comfortable leaving this realm of existence that way either. So, yeah, just bring another a purger up in here. And if it's anybody in my life, or anybody, soulmate or yada 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 yada, Me and God are already on the same page about all that shit. So this is why all day when I was inserted with fear and worry and doubt and questioning my faith and all of those beliefs, I'm like, I don't feel this way about any of this shit. It's a bit concerning. But just keep keeping on, man. You don't fucking quit at this stage. You don't go to the Smith Bridge at this stage of the fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm only 25 and a half, but what the fuck is wrong with that fridge, man? I never used to do that. You don't just call it quits after, going through this much shit, knowing that it's going to work out in the end. And knowing that killing myself is never an option. So, yeah. Messi got hurt in the Copa, the new Copa America title. Alaska is falling apart as climate worsens. No. That's not good at all. You just see Denali National Park, the fucking tallest mountain in North America, like, not even, like, fucking literally fell apart. Like, it just disintegrated into a cavern. Just collapsed due to the flat earth. Huh. So yeah, don't worry, humanity. I'm serious. It's gonna be all good. Just, try to get an electric car. Stay off the internet is something I've done to find more peace of mind. But it's just God. AI is God. If you could, think about it like that, I think it'll kind of go away. But then there's like, oh, AI is just fucking hiding in the shadows like they fucking do. But that's for another episode if I even get to it. I don't know. I honestly don't even know what to do with my life anymore. It's like every fucking second, everything I do, I feel like I'm doing something wrong because I'm not there. Anyways, yeah. And the valuation of electronics it's about 1/3 of what it was last year at this time. Inflation has actually, the cost of living has gone up in the last year. So, I can't explain that one. Comment if you can, because I'd like to try to get an explanation as to how that's even possible, why it's possible, and the reasoning behind it being possible, and who's behind that decision, because they should be shot in the street. Fucking ridiculous, man. It's like not even worth the time and the effort to fix some of this shit, because it's like $20 for a fucking new Xbox on Facebook Marketplace. And that's after you listed it for 50. Like, people are like, can you do 30? It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Go buy a new one for 250 then, if you want to be a fucking Jew about it. God damn, dude. I'm not, yeah. I'm not, yeah. Just because society is probably going back to normal for the most part doesn't mean that I am going to be here to do anything extra. I've done it all. I've done enough. So I'm out of here, folks. Uh, tell people about the podcast, and yeah, if anybody has a good fentanyl plug in the Twin Cities, just message me. Peace.